All right, we're going to start, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Oak Grove School District on June 26, 2025 at 5:00 p.m. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda has been approved as submitted. The board at this time will recess to close session to discuss public employee performance evaluation superintendent, consideration of public employee discipline release dismissal, government code section 54957, confer with labor negotiator pursuant to government code section 54957.6. Persons wishing to address the board on closed session items may use the raise your hand Zoom feature to speak. Please reference the agenda item in your public comment and you will have 3 minutes. Is there anyone to speak to these closed session items? All right, hearing none and none in person as well, we will now recess to closed session and we will return at approximately 6:00 p.m.
You got his cookies from your. She bought them in France, but they're supposed to be like charming cookies.
I'm just stalling a little bit so that it cools down. It's hot in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm moving slowly.
Not my favorite.
Yeah.
So I'll take my fan. Got a little fan. He
got a
says it's hot
fan?
in there.
Oh, is it?
Last time it was really cold in there, actually. Last time it was super cold in there. Yes, he's in. So she said, I really, I really. Other. But maybe it does, I don't know. That's happening, softens, managers, programs, Janet, like, nobody's. Yeah, so I think it would be good to have somebody show. And she's a 12-month employee, and as long as they're, and if she would be okay with at least field thing. Like program related policies, might be that they're not. Some people really, why don't we just put, right into the. All of our illiterate folks, classified as bilingual folks are not called common. And so, yeah, so Rita's able to kind of do enough that she gets to, and she uses communicate when she, too, but when they call them, she can't use that. So she can do what she can to know which department is sent to, but business has a 12-month illiterate, HR does, IT does not, but, and services she usually provides that. So, but there's a lot of questions in some of them program related, and so yeah, we'll explore. Let's see that take if she's interested, you think she'd be interested or for sure. Oh, great! Okay, so I'll be sent all the time. Then we talk tomorrow and Monday. Yeah, maybe we can set up a time for her to take the test. I mean, it's only a one chambers, but it just makes. Yes, yes. Yeah, June, July, and even now, I mean, she probably is speaking different Spanish anyway, they're all, and so she would. over on Monday, and she says, yes, let me know, and then we'll set up, I'll have, one of our folks in HR reach out to her and set up a test. And then once that's done, then do the classification come out. Get her the new range. Good, yeah. Is she out of her? She's out of her pro time, it's still okay, she can take that, and that sounds like she. And she's willing to do it, so. Oh, that's good, well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna. Okay. Oh, you want, I'll. And then, they don't, or not. So is it because there's one thing that's together, it's. Yeah. Yeah, so this is an title of tonight, yeah, they're still considered big day. It's a shift differentials for people, right? That's something we're gonna do. What is this, Mark? Evans? He was just here. I know, I saw him, but I was looking for him. Oh, here he is. Oh, I wanna ask you about the alarm.
I will set it before I leave.
Oh, I can okay. set mine ours too.
Oh,
Do yours too.
Yeah, and then go out there after the meeting.
Okay,
Part will be late and then set.
all right, okay, thank you. Tempted, but I already had that root beer flow.
Oh, no.
2 weeks in the course, like. No, she won't. We're gonna wire, we think Monday morning. She'll keep, but. So. At the, it's on Sunday, the 6th. So we're gonna officially, this week, we're gonna pack everything up and just have her. You still need plates, or you still like, I don't love any cousin who said that they would all. Saturday, Sunday, and then, they officially move her in. Oh, yeah, so Monday we'll get the keys, you know. I didn't wanna plan anything, there's got the people get the keys first, and then the first apartment will go in and. Or Wednesday, sorry, yeah. So, and then, I'm gonna be off on that thing.
I saw you change there, meeting is perfect.
Oh, great. That'll gives her all that time that we'll be home. Because originally we weren't gonna move her. Yeah. It's cheaper.
It's ready.
To make sure that like there's a park where you need to park. It's a 4-story building, the current condo is just one.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes. But, and then staging, well, now prepping, we're the finalists. Well, we're actually back, but, and now, the whole. Yeah. But let's stick on it. I mean, what is it?
Oh, you have it.
I mean, I think. But, like my mom's on the, out. I guess that's been kind of before, like weeks of the all. But. It's not that, they've only been there. But if it doesn't Yes, yes, yes. And so there's all of that. Yeah. Great. Well, so yeah, we have to wait to transfer the class. Yeah, yes, it is there. And then, but at least we'll. Yeah, they got two bedrooms, yeah, 2 bedroom units. And the nice part is, so it faces those foothills over there, so she'll get. And then the building right in front of her, it's great, that's housing, that is popular. But the building, so parking's gonna be a challenge. The neighborhood, but the buildings in front of her are all 3 stories, so she actually has a really nice view on top. She's on the top floor, we went back and forth on that, cause she's also nervous, like something. Yeah, there's one. So, but then we got into the fourth one, so. Here, the other one. It shall be. And her right now, so, with her. But so staging worked on her, because she named stage, and she bought it. She had it, she got down with all of that, and I remember walking through the walk. We're looking on.
Yeah.
Wait, are you teaching all the time?
No.
Just one weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you going?
Where do you go back to PC? At Gates Air.
Okay. And then you said maybe.
Yeah, we have
You didn't. If you don't mind.
Move down to F space spot.
Just move down a little bit. Yeah.
You're right. I don't think you're scrolling up.
All right, welcome to the regular board meeting of June 26, 2025. There are many opportunities for the public to address the board, public hearing, public comment, or during a specific agenda item. If you wish to speak to the board, please complete the request to speak card at the front and provide it to the recording secretary. If you are joining the meeting on Zoom, please select the raise your hand feature in order to have your name called when the agenda item is reached. In-person speakers will be called to the podium first, followed by Zoom attendees. When it is your turn to speak, you will have 3 minutes. The Brown Act governs meetings of governmental bodies in California. Your comments to the board must be specific to the agenda item you are addressing. If there is no specific item, you are welcome to present comments during public comment. Please note that you are attending a public meeting of the Board of Trustees doing the public's business. This is not a public forum for public debate. We will start with the land acknowledgement statement. Member Martinez, please read the land acknowledgement.
Yes, we acknowledge that Oak Grove School District and our schools occupy the unceded territory of the Muwakmi Ohlone Nation, the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn. The Muwakmi Ohlone people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learnings that come from and responds to the needs of the land and people who share it. May our daily lives and work, research, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Muwakmi Ohlone for their community and these lands.
Thank you, Member Martinez. Superintendent Chidas, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, thank you, Superintendent Chaitis. Please provide the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Yu. I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Board of Trustees for your unwavering support, collaboration, and dedication to our students, our staff, parents, and community. It has been an honor to serve alongside you and our astounding executive team during this important year of learning, growth, and progress. For many of us, this was our first year in our role. I want to thank my executive assistant, Mrs. Cecily Vu, for her exceptional attention to details, always smiling, and for her support to the board, our district, and to me. Thank you, Cecily. Yeah. I'm also pleased to mention, and I know that this is going to I know that makes human resource very happy as well, is that for the first time in many years, all 18 of our school principals will be returning to continue leading their schools on August 11th. So human resource, yeah, that's awesome. Last year, I believe we hired 7 or 8 principals. So keep up the great job, principals. In closing, I'm incredibly proud of the growth we have all achieved together, for improving student achievement to expanding inclusive programs, deepening connections across our campuses, and modernizing our school buildings. I look forward to continuing to build on this momentum with all of our students, with all of our community, with all of the board, with the executive team, all of the associations, our employees, as we move forward with the new school year ahead. I want to wish everyone a safe, joyful, and well-deserved summer break. President Yu, this concludes my comments for tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Chaitis. I just wanted to echo thank you to all of you as well and the exec team. You all definitely stepped into your new roles, except for Mark. You know, you're just continuing your role. But I think you all tackled, you know, what you all needed to do this year, and we definitely appreciate the work that you put in. Let's move on to closed session report. So the board met in closed session to discuss public employee performance evaluation. Superintendent, no action was taken. Consideration of public employee discipline, release, dismissal, Government Code Section 54957, and no action was taken. Confer with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, and no action was taken. We now move on to public comment. So this is an opportunity for individuals to address the board on any school-related issue, which is not a part of this evening's agenda. Pursuant to Board Bylaw 9323, members of the public shall not approach the dais at any time during a board meeting unless invited to do so by the board or district staff. If a member of the public wishes to provide a written or visual information to the board during the meeting, they shall provide the information to an executive team member who will distribute the information to the board if appropriate. Are there any individuals who wish to speak to the board at this time? Right. We have one public comment. Christina Bravo, can you please come up to the podium? You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Christina Bravo. I'm the mother of 2 children at Sakamoto Elementary. Both are enrolled in the district's BASE program. I'm speaking to you tonight because I no longer feel that my children are safe under the supervision of BASE Administrator Ms. Chan Tran. I need to bring to your attention a serious pattern of retaliation, harassment, and unethical behavior I've experienced and which the district has yet not addressed. The situation that brings me here began when I received a late night email on Saturday, June 21st from BASE Program Administrator Mrs. Tran from her personal email address. In it, she demanded I pay her $12,500 by June 25th, and if I failed to pay, she would proceed to file a lawsuit in small claims court. Further, she informed me she filed a police report, all in retaliation for my efforts to document and escalate a serious professional misconduct. That retaliation stems from a disturbing incident on May 28th when Ms. Tran aggressively and recklessly mishandled a false accusation against my 11-year-old son. She failed to follow any reasonable investigative protocol, caused significant emotional harm, humiliated my son in a way that no child should ever have to sustain, and denied me the opportunity to advocate for my child. As a result of the escalation, Dr. Dorsey was called in to run an investigation which determined that the accusation against my son was baseless. On June 5th, I met with Ms. Tran and her supervisor, Ms. Demery, to debrief on the incident. Ms. Demery reviewed Ms. Tran's communications with me over the school year and disclosed that not only were none of Ms. Tran's previous disciplinary actions against my son reported, reviewed, or approved by her, that she disagreed with the approach. She made it clear that Ms. Tran's behavior was unacceptable, not only in this instance, but prior instances as well. I shared the retaliatory legal threats with Ms. Demery and Ms. Dorsey via email on Sunday, the 22nd. On yesterday, the 25th, I received an official response from Dr. Dorsey sent from her admin, Barbara Sutton, saying that this was a personal issue and did not involve the district. That is an unacceptable response. Ms. Tran's actions were clearly rooted in her role as a district administrator, and it's a blatant abuse of legal and criminal channels by a district employee designed to intimidate me and silence me as a concerned parent who spoke out about how my son, a child with documented disabilities, was being mistreated. Because of the disappointing response from the district thus far, I felt it prudent to retain legal counsel. An official email went out to all involved parties today, including the district superintendent, Dr. Chaidez. I'm not here to ask that Ms. Tran be removed from her position within the district, but I am demanding that she have no contact with or supervisor authority over my children now or in the future. I'm asking the district to clearly outline what it will do to remediate the damage that's been done and to prevent further harm. In the conversation with Ms. Tran's supervisor, her misconduct in her role was not an isolated incident with my child. Inaction is not a response, and I have documentation that I'd be happy to share with anybody.
Thank you, Ms. Bravo.
Thank you.
That now takes us to employee bargaining unit comment. Do we have any reports from bargaining unit representatives?
Good evening, Chuck Baylot, CSCA Chapter President. I wanted to just say that our CSCA Chapter bargaining team is happy to have reached a tentative agreement with the district on a new contract. We will be having a chapter meeting next week on July 1st to vote to ratify it on our end. I will let Amy know after the meeting that the results of our vote, though I'm confident it will pass and we'll have ratified it on our end. I want to thank Amy and the district's negotiations team for their effort and engagement with us. They did an excellent job listening to our concerns and being receptive to what we were saying. While we don't always agree and didn't always agree 100% on everything, I think both teams are always bargaining in good faith and looking for common ground. It was appreciated on our end, and we did really enjoy working with that team. My long-term concerns regarding budget deficits I discussed last board meeting still remain, and I hope that we continue to stay engaged on how to take it on as we move forward. But I just wanted to let everybody know we have we settled on a contract and have a tentative agreement. And Amy, I do really appreciate it. It was a good bargaining team. And I want to say I really do enjoy working with Amy and Mark as HR. I liked working with you, Yvonne, too, but I think it's been a good, smooth transition, and we haven't lost any ground, and I just wanted to say we appreciate it. So have a good meeting. I'm probably going to try to sneak out earlier than usual, but have a good summer.
Thank you, Chuck, for your report. And again, just kudos to the negotiations team for TAing with CSEA. All right, let's now move on to consent agenda. I first want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of our generous partners, sponsors, and community members who contributed to the success of our 36th annual employee recognition event. Your support, whether through donations, volunteer time, or participation, helped us celebrate and honor the incredible dedication and hard work of our staff in a truly meaningful way. We are deeply grateful for your continued commitment to our district and for helping make the celebration so special for our employees. Superintendent Chidas, can you please present the consent agenda?
Thank you, President Yu. At this time, I'm recommending for the board to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll go ahead and motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
Do we have any public comments in person or online? Any board discussion? All right, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Member Yolakar,
Aye.
Member Martinez, Member Torres,
Aye.
Vice President Eber,
Aye.
President Yu,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, now we can move on to action item 6.1, Local Control Accountability Plan. Assistant Superintendent Enna, can you please present this item?
Yes, thank you, President Yu and trustees. At our last board meeting on June 12th, the Local Control Accountability Plan for the 2025-26 school year was presented, and we held a public hearing. We had an opportunity to ask and answer clarifying questions, and tonight it is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the 2025-26 Local Control Accountability Plan as was presented.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Enna. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Great. Any public comments in person or online? Do we have any board discussion or questions? All right, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Member Yolakar,
Aye.
Member Martinez,
Aye.
Member Torres,
Aye.
Vice President Eber,
Aye.
President Yu,
Aye.
motion carries.
Right, let's move on to action item 6.2. Associate Superintendent Evans, can you please present the adoption of the 2025-26 budget?
Yes, thank you, President Yu. On Thursday, June 12th, we had the public hearing for the district budget. As presented, it comes back to you the same. The one modification I mentioned on the 12th was the fiscal solvency plan, which was added in the narrative as required by the county on how we'll address deficit spending in the years ahead. The fiscal solvency plan calls for looking at $3.5 million in reductions in 26-27 and another $2 million in reductions in 27-28. As the budget gets finalized at the state with the governor and the legislature, we'll look at how that plays into the equation as well as settlements with our bargaining units and all too. So we'll be developing that fiscal solvency plan in more detail in the months ahead and bring in all those other factors as well.
All right, can I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comments in person or online? Any further board discussion?
I just had one follow-up question for you, Mark. Sorry. I know we had a discussion a while ago in regards to the property value changes and things is that factored in here, or was there any follow-up on that one?
Yeah, when the property tax, we assume a certain rate of growth just because of the 2% increase. There's actually a little more growth from that because of the turning of properties as well. So our assessed valuation tends to go up a little over 4% a year. So we get more than the natural increase of Prop 13. But when we do our calculations, our income is based on what we earn based on our enrollment, and our property taxes fill the bucket up to a certain level. And if they don't reach the top, which they don't in our district, then the state aid takes us to the top of the allocation.
Correct, but the state aid is equivalent to whatever the difference is, right? Or is it
Correct.
just, so if the property value is higher, it's less state aid that's coming in?
Yes, if we,
So-
I'm sorry.
Sorry, so case in point, so if we have new construction that's going to be occurring, such as the Kaiser Permanente Hospital, I know you were going to go back and take a look at the percentage, how much that
Yeah.
would add, and then
When I looked at the rate of property tax, that's our total allocation of Prop $98 or LCFF funding. It's about 50% in our district. So it would be a huge lift for us to become a basic aid or community funded district. We would have to double our assessed valuation in the area. So while the construction of new buildings like construction facilities or the hospital would increase that percentage, perhaps it would not take us up to full 100% property tax funded.
But how much is that changing is what I'm trying to understand. You mentioned it's 4% is your target, but with all the new construction, is it causing a higher increase or is it
Not
kind of still
significant.
the same?
Yeah, it's kind of not significant because one, we get the increase in assessed value naturally, but we also have the increased Prop 28 or Prop 98 values with the COLAs and stuff. So even as the property tax grows, it probably remains about the same percentage of our overall allocation. And because we are a pretty well built out district, we don't have new developments coming in with multiple houses and things like that. We don't get a big bump up from that. We did in the past few years, years back when Palmilla went in, or recently when the development over by Cottle and Costco and all of that went in, that would have increased the property tax base for the district, but now that's already included.
But there's still construction going on.
Yeah, so there will be some new properties coming on, yes, but
Okay.
most of that is built out at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's take a roll call vote, please.
Member Yolakar,
Aye.
Member Martinez,
Aye.
Member Torres,
Aye.
Vice President Hebert, President Yu,
Aye.
motion carries.
Great. We can now move on to information items. Assistant Superintendent Enna, please present information item 7.1, California Dashboard Local Indicators.
Okay, thank you, President Yu, and members of the board. This agenda item is a routine item. It's required to be presented at the same board meeting as the adoption of the Local Control Accountability Plan. So I will be presenting the results of our district data and self-assessment for the local indicators portion of the California dashboard. The dashboard is California's accountability system that uses multiple measures to evaluate local education agencies based on the 8 LCFF priorities. So you can see here that the state indicators are reported separately, and those are test scores broken down by English language arts, math, and now science, chronic absenteeism, suspension rates, English learner progress. And then the last two, college and career readiness and graduation rates, don't apply to our district. Those are for high school districts. And then the local indicators, which we'll be reporting on tonight, are the basic conditions at school, the implementation of state academic standards, parent engagement, school climate, and then access to a broad course of study. And I'll be explaining all of these tonight. All this information about the California School Dashboard can be found on the dashboard website. Updated information that I'm presenting you tonight is for the 2025 dashboard, which is not going to be found on that website until the dashboard's released later in the year. So the 8 priorities that I discussed are here, and for tonight's purposes, we are presenting on or reporting on priorities 1, basic services, 2, Common Core state standards, 3, parent involvement, 6, school climate, and 7. That's what the local indicators present on.
Can I just ask you a quick clarifying question? So the dashboard data, you are going to present this current school year's data, but it just doesn't appear on the website yet. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So the dashboard, there's kind of 2 areas. There's the state indicators and the local indicators. The state indicators are when the dashboard's released, it's a bit lagging. So they released the 2025 dashboard based on the 24-25 school year. And the same thing with our local indicators. So you can kind of see which state or local indicator meets the LCFF priorities. There's only one that overlaps with both meeting priority 6, which is school climate. Just a visual there for you to show you the breakdown. And then how the indicators are reported on the dashboard for the state indicators. If you remember, we have our colors, our dashboard colors, and those are based on the state reference charts. And then the local is either met or not met, the local indicators, and or if they're not met for 2 or more years. We use, in order to complete the self-assessment, we use data and we follow the template for the self-assessment that the state provides. Okay. So I'm going to get into our results. And on priority 1 for basic services, this is related to appropriately assigned teachers, access to curriculum-aligned instructional materials, and safe, clean, and functional school facilities. We measure this primarily in our teacher assignment monitoring outcomes, which is, that's the state, they call it TAMO, because that's the acronym. The state data is from 2022. So as soon as the new release happens, we're required to report that to the board. But our current monitoring outcomes for teacher assignments is on the 2022 data that's released, that is on the state website currently. And then our Williams visit. So 2 of our sites, Davis Intermediate and Herman Intermediate, were visited by officials at the County Office of Education to assess our students' access to curriculum as well as materials. And there's also a separate assessment for facilities. There's a facilities inspection, and we passed all of that successfully. So that priority was met. And for priority 2, the implementation of the standards, our ratings here are all generally high in this area, and we found the following strengths and opportunities for growth. So in this area, we providing professional development aligned to academic standards is a strength. We recently adopted math curriculum aligned to the standards and the frameworks. We offer ethnic studies at 3 comprehensive middle schools. It's an intro to ethnic studies elective. We've identified the professional learning needs of groups of teachers or staff as a whole through our evaluation, professional development evaluation surveys. And then opportunities that we have to improve in this area are that we are piloting and hoping to adopt language arts curriculum aligned to the ELA and ELD frameworks. That pilot is happening during the 25-26 school year. So we're looking forward to some new curriculum around that. Strengthening the implementation of our recently adopted science curriculum. That's the TWIG science curriculum. So our strengthening in that is continuing to support teachers in utilizing the modules and aligning them with our SEAL units. And social studies curriculum supplemented in elementary schools with the ethnic studies signature lessons across the grade levels. So that's what we're looking forward to for priority 2. And curriculum implementation is also supported by monitoring through teacher self-reflection, administrative observations, peer-to-peer observations such as instructional rounds, and coaching support. We offer coaching and training or professional development to veteran and new teachers over the course of the year to help them understand and implement their core curriculum. We monitor our student and educator access to online resources. We have a lot of programs online, and through teacher usage data and impact reports, we see how effective our online programs are. We also have an ongoing implementation plan for our math curriculum, our science curriculum, and our SEAL models. And in fact, we do have professional learning plan for all areas of professional development for the school year. Okay, so for parent engagement, we implement our LCAP Educational Partner Feedback Survey. And we used to separate parent engagement survey questions on a separate survey. And we found that our response rate on the separate survey after the LCAP survey was much lower. So we wanted to capture more parent voice. So 2 years ago, we started embedding our parent engagement survey questions in the same survey as our LCAP Ed Partner Feedback Survey. So we asked specific questions to address our strengths and opportunities for growth. So here you can see that our strengths include creating welcoming environments for all families in the community. That came in at 83% of families or ed partners agreed or strongly agreed, and that's up 5% from the previous school year. Developing multiple opportunities for our district and school sites to engage in two-way communication between families. So not just sending out information, but inviting responses as well, inviting parent voice. And we came in at 84% agree or strongly agree, which was up 9% from the previous year. Some opportunities, even though these are, there were significant increases in the families who agree or strongly agree, we still see these as opportunities for growth. So supporting families in understanding and exercising their legal rights and advocating for their own children, 64%, although that is a 6% increase. Supporting families to engage in advisory groups and decision-making, 76%. And providing families with opportunities to provide input on policies and programs and implementing strategies to seek input from underrepresented groups in the school community was at 74%, and both of those were up 12% from the previous year. So we are making progress, and we want to continue to make progress. In that area, we also met that priority. And then for the school climate, we use our California Healthy Kids Survey, a statewide survey, as well as our own local student connectedness and belonging survey data results for these outcomes. And we've recognized the following strengths. 90% of our 3rd through 8th graders reported feeling safe on the spring survey, Spring Safety Connectedness and Belonging Survey, and 80% of 5th graders reported feeling safe within a positive school environment on the California Healthy Kids Survey. Opportunities for growth, 61% of 7th graders reported feeling safe within a positive school environment on the California Healthy Kids Survey. And then also, we always look to close disproportionate suspension rates and chronic absenteeism gaps amongst student groups by race and by students with disabilities. So we're continuing to look for opportunities for improvement there. Overall, we met this priority as well. And then finally, our last priority is, and local indicator is our access to a broad course of study. So this looks at students who are accessing electives in junior high. We look at all of the core content, in addition, visual and performing arts, health, and PE. We will continue to offer visual and performing arts across our elementary schools. I want to note that there's a metric in our LCAP that shows that our baseline for visual and performing arts in terms of a broad course of study was 44% of elementary school students had access to visual and performing arts classes, and now that is at 100%. So that is a tremendous growth, and we're very thankful for the Prop 28 funding for that. At the intermediate schools, also something very exciting to note is that we've been working on for a couple of years, Davis Intermediate offering a computer science course, elective course, and this pathway would support students who may be interested in participating in the computer science CTE pathway in high school. So we met that local indicator and that priority as well. The next steps for us would be to upload our results to the state for our local indicators. And then when the dashboard is released, as I said, for the 2025, you would find our local indicators on the website as indicated here. They'll just kind of be side by side with the state indicators. So this is a screen clip of a previous, this is not this data, but this is this is not the 2025, obviously, but this is a previous screenshot just for a visual representation. All right, so thank you. Are there any questions at this time?
Yes, my only question would be, when is this gonna be updated again? Like the last,
Yeah, so the state is rolling back their date for releasing the 2025 or the dashboard in general. Each year it's going to be a little bit sooner. And so we're anticipating possibly a November or even late October release. In the past, we haven't really been able to see that data until December, but eventually the idea is to have it closer to the start of the school year. And so they're rolling it back incrementally. And when that is released, we'll bring a presentation to you. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Assistant Superintendent Enna. Any other board questions or discussion? Okay. Any public comments? All right. Thank you again. Okay, let's move on to correspondence and board discussion. We may now hear from board members regarding correspondence from individuals and/or organizations regarding district programs or services. Board members may report on meetings attended or other related district matters. At this time, board members may also report on committee assignments. Who would like to start?
I just want to thank the board and for the schools that have received me this last 6 months of coming on to this term. And I've learned a lot in the last 6 months being part of the Oak Grove School District. Thank you, Superintendent, for always listening to questions and having answers quickly to us. So I just want to just take a moment to wish all of the students that are on break now a great summer. I'm hopeful to visit maybe some summer schools that are happening and also looking forward to the fall. So I've been engaged. I look forward to meeting more families and more teachers and being available. Thank you.
Great. All right, let's go ahead and move to adjournment. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn?
Second. Okay.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the regular board meeting on June 26, 2025 is adjourned at 6:36 p.m. The next regular board meeting of the Oak Grove School District will convene on September 11th, 2025. And again, wishing everyone a restful and enjoyable summer break. Thank you.
No, this is for you. Oh, they're German. Right, German, right? Okay.